Hello, everyone. This is Christopher once again with Love Affairs with CL. I'm so glad to be with you today. Today is going to be awesome because the Lord has so much great things for our marriages. Today, we want to delve into one of the most important thing in marriage, and truly this is one of the things that is destroying marriages left, right, center. And we want to actually start talking about honesty in finances. Honesty in finances. Look, finances is a big part of a successful marriage. Do you know, just the same way that I've just spoken now, is that financial agreement is one of the top reasons for divorce. That is, the two spouses is not in agreement on how many hours that they want to work, on what kind of career or job that they actually want to work in, on how they are going to spend their money. So many disagreements left, right, center, even concerning spending on their kids, what to spend on this and that. So when there's high disagreement concerning finances, it's time for you to start rectifying all these things that is causing disagreement in the marriage, because obviously it's going to lead to something that we don't want, and which is divorce. All right, now, do you know that some people think that hiding their finances is a solution to financial agreement, or is a solution to financial disagreement? That's a big mistake. That's a big mistake. Look, when you hide your finances, all you are doing is that you are hurting your integrity in front of your spouse. Let your finance be an open book to your spouse. Okay, let him see, let her see. Look, this is the money that is coming in, this is where it is, this is the amount that it is. Let it be an open book. For example, right now, I'm not saying that maybe I'm the most perfect, don't get me wrong, but for me right now, my wife sees my business account, she sees my personal account, she knows that, hey, this is the money that you can touch for the family. She knows that this is the money for the business that you can't touch. Okay, that's not mine, that's for the business. So all these things, and she knows this. So the same thing too, it should be reciprocal. Praise God. But when you start hiding your finances, then you start building a pillar of distrust. Then you start building a pillar of dishonesty. Praise God. And especially when you and your spouse, you guys build your wealth together, you guys build your life together. And when we are building lives together, sometimes one person is working and the other person is in school, or maybe the other person is learning a trade, or maybe the other person is trying to build a business, or maybe a career while the other person is working. Now, by the time the other person is well established, okay, then now the one that has been working actually wants to build him or herself up again. Now, most times that is how it is in marriage, except you are born with a silver spoon, or maybe you're already working and making millions, right? So before you actually get married, all right? But apart from that exception, most times couples build their wealth, their life together from nothing to something, right? And that's why you don't despise the days of little beginning. That's a wisdom from God right there, the author of this marriage that we are talking about here. So now imagine somebody sacrificing his life for you for like 5 years, and you are hiding your finances just because you guys don't agree on something. Or maybe your wife is a stay-at-home mom for like 5-10 years. Just because you don't agree on a way of spending, then you start hiding your finances from her. How do you think that your spouse is going to feel? She's going to feel cheated. She's not going to trust you. She's going to see you as wicked. So that strategy of hiding your finances just because you and your spouse disagrees about how to spend money is wrong. It doesn't solve anything, right? So now let's not talk about, and And I just said something right here that is very, very important, because the main purpose why a spouse is going to be hiding his or her finances is because, both spouse is in disagreement. They do not agree on how to spend their finances. Praise God. They don't agree on how to spend the finances. So when there's a disagreement, then the other person will say, oh, let me hide it. But there's a danger, and that's the danger that we just spoke about right now. It's going to cause distrust. It's going to cause, bitterness. That what? I'm sacrificing this for you, and you are hiding this from me, hiding this from you, even though it is for a good reason. I understand. Oh, I'm just hiding these finances for a rainy day. Let your spouse know that, yes, this finance, I have it here, but it's untouchable because it is for a rainy day. It's for a day of challenge. Praise God. Now, and if that marriage does not incorporate trust and forgiveness, I bet it with you, hiding finances will hurt and even destroy that marriage. It's going to hurt and destroy your marriage, because it's going to destroy the fabric of honesty, the fabric of trust. Is going to destroy it totally. All right. So now, what is the solution? What is the solution where the other spouse wants to spend finances on something that they both don't agree on? And there are so many solutions out there, and I don't disagree with it. I don't disagree with the method of a joint account, or maybe the method of, okay, have your separate account but have one family account. All those strategies are great, but guess what? God has a strategy for you and I that is going to work from your inside out, and is going to make all these other marriage counseling strategy be more effective. And that strategy is what is the big, and it is the biggest solution. Is the biggest solution to this problem. And that strategy is God's way of love. Let someone say God's way of love. I'm saying it again. The biggest solution to this problem of both parties being in financial disagreement is adopting God's way of love. Now, some people say, okay, what is God's way of love? Let's go to 1 Corinthians chapter 13, and I want to read from verse 4 to verse 8. Now, it said, love is patient and kind. Love is not jealousy or boastful or proud or rude. It does not demand its own way. We are coming to that. It is not irritable, and love keeps no record of being wronged. It does not rejoice about injustice, but rejoices whenever the truth wins out. Love never gives up. Love never loses faith. Love is always hopeful, and love endures through every circumstance. Prophecy and speaking in unknown languages and special knowledge will become useless, but love will last forever. And I'm talking about God's way of love, not this useless way of love that is walking around. And this is God's way of love. He defined it here. But for financial disagreement, the solution is in verse 5 of 1 Corinthians chapter 13. Woo! This is a wisdom from the one that created marriage. He said, love does not demand its own way. When it comes to financial planning, financial agreements, spouse, husband, wife, don't demand your own way. Don't say my way is the way and no other way. I'm right and you are wrong. What if you are right? What if you are wrong and she's right? Or what if she's wrong and the man is right? So guess what? Don't demand your own way. But why don't you reason together? Even God that created marriage, he said, come, let us reason together. Why don't you reason together? Why don't you put it on the table and say, okay, this is what we have in your account. This is what I have in my account. Fine. So we have to, make sure that the food is in the house. The water is in the house. This is the house. So the bills are paid. Praise God. And women, we love to take responsibility. I love to take responsibility, right? I love to take care of my wife and my children, and that's for every man, right? So even when we take care of all the bills and stuffs like that, guess what? We know that the finances in our wife's account is there for whatever deficit that we cannot cover. Praise God. Is there for whatever deficit that we cannot cover. Is there for some projects, right, that we both agree upon. Is there for, different things that we can use for the schools of the children. So tell me, when we have the attitude of reasoning together, when we have the attitude of not demanding our own way, there will not be any financial disagreement. So hiding your finances is not a solution to financial disagreement, but adopting God's way of love that says love does not demand its own way. Don't demand your own way in family finances, but adopt reasoning together, because that's what God does. That's what God tells us. He said, come, let us reason together. Why don't you reason together and don't have your own way, but reason, plan, weigh the option, praise God, and always be in agreement. And if you don't agree with something, guess what? That's where prayer comes in. Join us Thursdays, 8:30 and prayers. Let me tell you something. There are some times that me and my wife doesn't agree on stuff, but she taught me this thing. All she needs to do is to pray. When she prays about it, do you know what? One day I'll just realize, okay, oh baby, I don't want to do that again. She should just say, oh, thank God. I was like, why you? He said, well, I told you, but you didn't listen, and I pray about it. Why don't you try that instead of being in disagreements, right? Then also, next week, we're going to talk about spouses that are experiencing disagreement, right? And how to apply what we just said right here. So I'm so glad that you are here with us today, listening to this wisdom from the Most High God through this channel, right? Remember, love does not demand its own way. In financial planning, marriage finances, why don't you reason together? Reason together, plan together, and don't say that my way is the way and no other way. That is a recipe for failure. But why don't you reason together, plan together, and make sure that you weigh those options and you come to an agreement prayerfully. I love you guys. Thank you so much for joining this wonderful program today. Start experiencing financial agreement and making sure that your marriage is soaring and not going below. I love you, and I'll see you on Thursday's prayer. Have a blessed day.